He is an Emmy Award-winning contemporary graphic artist whose style is rooted in a combination of urban and traditional American comic form. Dawud is the creator of the critically acclaimed book Brotherman, Dictator of Discipline. He is renowned for his work on MTV, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, TNT, and NBA TV. His book, Brotherman, Dictator of Discipline, is widely recognized as the catalyst for black comic explosion in the 1990s and certainly today. So without further ado, please welcome to the show one of the best creative minds of our generation, Mr. Dawud Anyabwile. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Am I coming in clear?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Man, it is always my pleasure. And again, I do apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, we were going to be playing some selections of music designed by the Brotherman camp on our show, but we had some malfunctions, but we're going to work on that. And I do want to I'll try to play those at a later show. But can you explain a little bit about the music and where it comes from? Who created it?
Well, actually, I've been into, music production for some years now, and I think part of that came from the influence of my mother, and there's a lot of musical elements in my family coming up.
Right.
My mother played the piano. Her sisters all sing and musical. A lot of my cousins are into the same thing. And then I have then I got into into high school. I was into DJing and making beats and all that stuff. Throughout the 80s and all that, and that continued on. So even when I got into doing the comic books and all that, I never looked at music as being separate from my visual work. It was all one and the same. The music inspires vision. A lot of times vision inspires music. And I kind of always looked at it as, the fusion of the two. So even when I worked on my book, I always heard the music, so I would do my best to create what I think it would sound like and kind of gravitate to those people who create music like that. So, it was kind of a fusion between music tracks that I did, some tracks that my cousins and some family members have produced over the years, and also have a partner of mine, Brian McGee, who's here working with me on the new graphic novel. He also does music production, and he's in sync with the whole concept of what we're building, because it's more than a comic book we're working on. We're working on a theme. Basically, we look at it, we're doing production work for a film. So that's what a lot of the music is rooted in. And I still look at this music as sketches, just like sketches of drawings. It's not like the final. It's like, these are the elements and the components that will get you into the mode of what we're doing. But I see having a full orchestra in addition to a myriad of styles of music.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to work through that with BTR, and I'll be featuring that on this show permanently. So let's go back to the beginning. And I know from talking to you in the past that your parents, as you just mentioned, had a tremendous role in developing you and your brother's talents. Can you
Right.
talk to us about that early beginning and their influence on you guys?
My parents they originated in Jersey City, New Jersey. That's, right across the river from New York City. And they had moved to Philadelphia in their journeys, where myself and my brothers were raised. And my father, he was more of a researcher, an activist. My dad wrote a lot of material on the black family. He had his own publication called Black Family Rituals, where when I was in 6th grade, I did the cover to one of his books called Rites of Passage for Black Youth. And he pretty much had his own following. A lot of people knew about my father's work for years. He brought people through our house like Dr. Malefe Asante, Dr. Len Jeffries, Khalid Muhammad. You know, a lot of those people were associated with my father. Even Dr. John Henry Clark came through my father's home in Dallas before he passed away, before my father passed away and before Dr. John Henry Clark passed away. So he was connected with a lot of people over the years and always doing things for the black family. And my mother, she was always musically inclined, and, you know, they were together till they both passed away in the early 90s, like 94, 96. And so when we were coming up, you know, creativity was always pushed to be creative, and I would say that kind of more came from my mother. And from my father's side was ownership and responsibility of your image. Like when you create something, understand that you have power and that don't just be putting out anything. Because when you put out, whatever you put out there is going to influence the way people think. And if, you know, basically look at it like if your people are in a certain condition and you're bestowed a certain gift or talent, what are you going to use that talent for? Is it going to further, you know, bring your condition of your people down or to raise us up? So understanding that as a child, you know, I always like to draw, and I like comics, and I like movies, and I like Star Wars and all that stuff. So when I got down to doing my own thing, I wanted to be as powerful as those you know, those properties that I was a fan of. But I said, okay, well, I just want to do something that speaks to our condition and who I am, but not from a perspective of I just have to do this. I still want it to be fun. I want it to be something that is exciting, over the top, you know, and just as powerful as watching Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or anything else that we watch out there. But it just features us doing what we do.
Yeah.